Stillwater Pioneer Athlete Memorial Board. And after canceling 2 years worth of induction ceremonies, we are pleased to welcome you to our 25th ceremony this morning. And before I turn this over to Tom Derringer, I would like to acknowledge and thank some people that have helped us get ready. Walter Howell, the principal. Oh, there he is over there. Thank you. He's knocking things down. And Mr. Uwe Gordon, our superintendent. They're both getting ready to lead high school reunion tours through the high school. Thank you. And I think Eric Koka is not here. He works for the school, but his crew, Steve and Tanya Shanks, have helped us set up the room this morning, and we thank them for that. Casey Kendrick's TV 31 crew is here. They are recording this ceremony, and we thank them. Melinda Boswell, our Spam secretary, is serving as our official photographer this morning. And as you may or may not know, we award $10,000 scholarship to a graduating senior. Is Braden Bennett here? Would you like to come up and say a few words? He received our scholarship in 2021.
Good morning. So I graduated in 2021 and I was awarded this scholarship. It really has helped a lot. Just, going to college is a huge financial burden for everyone involved, including me. And being blessed with the scholarship has really been able to ease that financial burden and allow me to focus on school and work, so I can be more successful in the future. And I'm just really glad and appreciative of getting the scholarship.
Thank you. And Mark Wagner will be speaking more about this scholarship and how you can help us with this. We'd also like to recognize class of 67 members. If you would stand, please. They are here celebrating their 55th high school reunion. Tom, there you go. And finally, I'd like for the Spam board to please stand. Their names are listed. They're all back there. Their names are listed in the program. And I also see some former board members here. Would you stand as well? Thank you. Where's Clint? There's Clint. Okay, yes. Thank you very much. Have I missed anyone? What? Was she kidding? Roger and Jeff McMillan. Okay. Thank you again for coming. And Tom, I'll turn this to you.
Thank you, Beth. Well, it's great to see human faces again after a 2-year hiatus. We had this class actually set up to be inducted 2 years ago, and of course with the pandemic it was put off, and then last year it flared up again and it was put off again. So we're just tickled to death to have you here, and it is great to see everybody. Before we get started, there's a few house cleaning items I'd like to mention. As Beth said, we are recording this, and we will give a recording to the families so they can have that as memories of this day. So it's right dead behind me down this middle path. So as people come and go or get up to do something, try to stay out of this middle aisle. Also, there's a cord there. Don't want you tripping. Some of you old cockers need to be real careful about that. And stay away from that cord. There will be pictures after the ceremony. So anybody that's inclined to take a picture, if you'll just hold off until after the ceremony, we'll have all the families up here in front, and we'll take pictures, and we'll have those pictures available. So if you'll just do that, I think it'll expedite the ceremony itself. We're just tickled to death to have everybody here. We invite you to stay, hang around. We've got refreshments over there. And I know it's like a giant class reunion, so it's a great time to see everybody. And we want you to stay as long as you want. So So afterwards, please feel free to do that. About 30 years ago, Coach Jim Harris and several of his former players had an unexpected gathering as we were at the funeral of Nick Greason. The funeral was unexpected. It was a surprise, and so I think there was a lot of people that wanted to, in some way, honor Nick, and so they gave money to Nick's dad, Ralph Greason. So after the ceremony, Ralph Greason came up to Jim Harris and said, "Coach, here's a check." And he said, "I want you to do something that will honor pioneer athletes." He said, "I just got a few restrictions that I would give you as you use this money." He said, "Number one, I don't want it to be brick and mortar. Number two, I don't want it to be a one-time donation. And he wants it to be something that would be utilized by all athletes." So we had a little brainstorming session a few weeks after that, as Coach, as he could, would get you to help him. We had a meeting and we did some brainstorming. Finally, we came up with this organization that you see today. We decided that we would do something that would benefit all former athletes that were worthy of acknowledgement. We would try to pinpoint some of the things that athletics had done for them as they had participated. We wanted to honor these people, and we wanted to choose people that you could see had benefited from being involved in athletics. So that's where we got the idea of having this ceremony, which we've now had. This will be the 25th year. In the process, money would come in memory of these people that were inducted, and we were able to start an endowment fund, which we now have raised to the point that we're giving a $10,000 scholarship each year to a pioneer athlete that's graduating and going on to school in the state of Oklahoma. So that's kind of how this organization got started and the function of it. And we're just tickled to death that you're here with us today to participate in our 25th induction. Now, if you would, turn with me to the back of the program. I think it's actually pages 8 and 9, and you will see a list of all of these guys that are surrounding the room. If you hadn't had time to look at them, I'd suggest you do so maybe afterwards. And what I'd like to do is just take a few minutes in silence to remember these guys and girls and honor them. And then I'm going to have John Talley come up and he will close us in prayer. Okay?
Before I lead us in prayer, I would like to say thank you to Stillwater Schools. Since 1974, I've been coming up here bothering the wrestling team, and it's an honor to be kind of like adopted at Stillwater High School. And so thank you for asking me to pray almost every year. Many of you that I'm looking around have helped raise me. And then I helped raise your kids. And Shirley, Chesbro, where are you? Okay. Her husband coached me and chewed me out every day and helped me to be the man I am. And so as I look across here, it's unbelievable if you hang out how many people you get to know and how many people have affected each other's lives. So let us pray. Lord, wow, it's such an honor to be here with so many great people, so many great coaches, so many great parents and moms and dads. And Lord, I pray your blessings on this group, because they still have an effect on our kids. I lift up our students up today, and I pray that our administration and our teachers have strength and encouragement and energy to work in today's society. Lord, I pray that this would be honoring to you today because of the lives that are being honored today. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, John. John's not only a representative for the county of Payne at the Oklahoma House of Representatives, but he's also involved in FCA in our area and has been for a number of years. And we thank him for getting us started today. Okay, if you will, turn to the program with me, and we'll see the 6 people that we're going to induct today. I might mention to the presenters as they come up that because of our filming, it's a still camera, so if you have a tendency to wander, you may get out of the camera. So try to stay behind the podium, if you will, and try to get the mic up to your mouth. I know that's difficult for those of us who don't do a lot of public speaking, but that will help these families when they get the CDs enjoy it that much more. Okay, for our first inductee, Chuck Kinnick, we've got a classmate, Dave Lambert. He's going to come up and do the presentation.
First order of business is to congratulate and show some round of applause for all the people that are involved with the band. They've carried it forward for the past 24 years. Let's give them a hand. I also want to thank I'm finished. Testing. Uh-oh. Shut that off. Okay. Okay, so I'm getting to talk up today, they said. I need to thank the Kinnick family for asking me to come today and represent them in this part of the program. It's an honor. I was trying to shut it off on somebody else, but it's an honor for me to be a part of this memorial. I believe that every high school athlete has a desire and to become a member of this memorial. Today we're inducting 6 new members, including my friend Chuck Kinnick. Chuck and his 4 brothers and 3 sisters grew up on a family farm east of Stillwater. And Chuck went to a one-room school, Spring Valley School, 1 teacher, 1 room, and then came to high school in the 9th grade and graduated from Stillwater High School in 1957. After high school, he joined the Navy, and then after his deployment with the Navy, he came back to Stillwater and attended OSU and ended up at Boy State continuing his education. Unlike Chuck, I'm not an athlete. When I graduated from high school, I was the smallest kid on the block. Or there might be an exception. When we graduated, there was only 3 girls that were taller than I was. I was a full head shorter than all but 3 of the girls in high school. So I wrote it off as I was too small to play in athletics. But when the conversation turns to high school athletics, well, I tell everybody that I qualified for 2 positions, the end and guard. I was the end of the bench and I guard the water pail. In high school, Chuck participated in football, baseball, and wrestling. I believe that participation in athletics has long-lasting benefits, including physical health and wellness, leadership and teamwork, mentorship, time management, improved academics, accountability, and responsibility. And I believe one of the most important aspects of participating in athletics is the resilience it teaches. To take a failure, improve on it, and come back even stronger. And I believe in Chuck's life, he took the lessons he learned in athletics and applied them to his life. Chuck was a positive role model. All of us are role models, some are good and some are bad. But Chuck was a positive role model, and we can learn something from everyone. Chuck's football coach in high school, Nate Watson, was kind of a hard-nosed military type guy. He really didn't care too much about the size of your weight or your abilities. He was more concerned with the fact that you applied yourself to what you were doing and performed to your highest potential. Coach Watson liked Chuck because the fact that he never complained, he was a hard worker, appreciated being on the team. Much of what I'm telling you today comes from Chuck's long life friend, Stan Ward. Stan couldn't be with us today, so I did visit with him some, and I think Stan gave Chuck a supreme compliment when he said he is a good teammate, a long life friend, and a good Christian man. I would be remiss if I failed to mention that Chuck and Stan were All-American high school football players their senior year. Thoughts that come to mind about Chuck's life are what a fine Christian man he was. What a great family man he was. How he and his wife Shirley met and accepted the challenge presented to them. One of those challenges was when their daughter Kim was born with cerebral palsy. Today, Kim and her husband live in California, getting along fine, and she is a mentor specializing in autism. I know that Chuck took pride in his grandson Branson, a baseball player, played baseball at Arizona. He went on to the major leagues, played some in Japan, and is now playing AAA ball in El Paso. Hey Chuck, your family, the people of Stillwater High School, and those gathered here today, want you to know we're very proud of you. And thanks for not forgetting your roots. I'm sure that Chuck's mom and dad, his coaches, and many others are looking down from above and saying, way to go, Chuck. Chuck has two sisters and a brother here today. At this time, I would like to ask his brother George to come forward and accept the plaque and presentation. And George, when you get up here, if you could maybe have Kenny for you stand up and introduce the ones you'd like to introduce. Full stand, Mr. Shs.
On behalf of the Kenning family, thank y'all very much. I'm Joe, and my sisters are here, Melinda, Annis, and Carolyn. Tom couldn't make it, and William, he's over here on the phone also. I've got nieces and nephews that are here. If y'all want to stand up, many friends. Okay, they said they were good with that. Okay. But I want to thank y'all so much, and it's quite an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, our second inductee is Bob Hurt, and here to make the presentation in his behalf is Mike Powell and Larry Black.
Thank you, Tom. It's a real honor to be here and to be asked to talk about my longtime friend, Robert L. Hurt Jr., better known, I'm sure, to this community as Bob. Bob is the recipient of the Distinguished Service Award. And I'm proud to have this opportunity to mention a few things about Bob. Bob and I met before the first grade. Bob lived on University, I lived on Redwood. And probably the most memorable thing I remember about that was getting to meet Mary Lee and Martha, his two lovely sisters, who even in high school would acknowledge the existence of a lowly freshman. And that was a big deal. Bob and I went to Eugene Field. We Ghost Lake, learning to swim. They had a cabin out there. We rode motor scooters at 14, cars at 16, and then to what was then C.E. Donart High School, and now of course Stillwater High School. And Bob was a close friend, a good guy. Bob was on the football team in junior high and then in high school. And Bob's interest in athletics continued as he was a member of the chain gang. That's the group on the side that has the chain and keeps track of first down. What I admire most about Bob in that situation was he continued to do that for a number of years without having any players of his family on the field. In my opinion, that's real service. Bob and I went to OSU, and I got to see quite a bit of Bob because we had the same major. Then we both went down to place down south that called itself University, and went to OU Law School together. So we had that experience, and Bob was recognized for his academic achievement by being on the Dean's Honor Roll, and his character because he was on the honor committee. So if someone violated the honor code, he was among those who sat in judgment, which Bob was good at exercising judgment while still considering the person. Bob came back to Stillwater to practice law with what turned out to be a lifelong law partnership with his friend William Baker. And they were successful, and Bob wanted to serve the community, which he did. But he also served his fellow lawyers. If you had a complex question, the answer to which you did not know, then Bob Hurt was the guy to go to. And many of those in the Payne County Bar Association went to Bob. They knew they could trust Bob's advice, and they could trust his discretion and confidentiality in making an inquiry. I want to close my remarks by reading from a document that was created by the Bar Association in honoring Bob in the State Court of Payne County, Oklahoma, District Court of Payne County, Oklahoma. Bob's father, Senior, was a noted judge, character, discretion. He was a friend of my father, and that's why I also kept up with Bob, because I didn't move to Stillwater. But that was one of Bob's goals. He wanted to be a district judge, and that came to pass with his appointment as the special judge for Payne County and Logan County. And the bar, upon his passing, was allowed the opportunity to, in open court, on the record, to talk about Bob and what he had meant to the community and what he had meant to other lawyers. So I'm going to read from that document. This is truly an honor that when a court takes its time and the Bar Association takes its time to prepare such a document that will be there forever. And in my opinion, Bob was that kind of a man that deserves to be remembered in that manner. Throughout his life, Bob had many different interests, which he always pursued with the goal of being a master of whatever it was. He would study all available resources to learn as much as he could about whatever it was that captured his attention. While this was obviously true as Bob serving as the legal profession versus private practice and then as a judge, another example of his desire to become the best he could in whatever interested him includes him learning to scuba dive. He became an airplane pilot, a catastrophe insurance adjuster, a marathon runner, and the list goes on. Whatever Bob undertook to do, he did so with determination and that stick-to-itiveness that sometimes we don't see. And that I think part of that, of course, was his participation not only in sports while he was in high school, but in his later life and all these things that David Langer talked about, the benefits of being part of the team and learning to get along. Certainly applied to Bob and served him well working with other lawyers, particularly. There was little doubt that Bob, as I said, was drawn to the legal profession by his father. Again, he was the district judge here and served with great honor and esteem. Bob's main focus was on helping those in need of legal legal assistance, regardless of the issue. And as we've already said, as I've already said, other lawyers would come to Bob because they knew that Bob would give some advice to them that they could use in assisting their clients. Many lawyers in Clayton County, as I said, turn to Bob for that kind of assistance. Bob also served this country. He joined the U.S. Army Reserve. He rose to the rank of lieutenant colonel and received many distinguishing awards in that capacity. So Bob really was what I would call the all-around person that you would want to know, and having a lawyer who cared about people. He was willing to expend the time and effort to know them. He was active in his community. He did all the things that lawyers, we tell us we should be doing with regard to serving those who are around us. Again, when I was quoting from this, Bob's longtime law partner, Willie Baker, prepared it. They formed a committee, and then I'm sure Willie took charge of that and prepared this document. And as I said, that was a real Bob was a good man. Thank you.
Thank everybody for coming today, and thank the Spam organization to keep this legacy of Jim Dares going. And again, this is a great opportunity for me to talk about my friend Bob, and I appreciate the Hurt family allowing me to do this. But we may have a little bit of repetition on what Larry shared with us. But again, Bob was a great friend. But I am so happy that they have acknowledged Bob's participation on the chain gang. I've been thinking about that a little bit, and sitting there thinking about those cold, windy nights. You're standing out there on a Friday night thinking of how many other things you could be doing. But doing that, I don't know how many years he did it. I didn't have that information. I know he did it for quite a length of time. But also, I got a little curious about Bob's athletics. Bob did letter in junior high football. He also played on the sophomore team in high school. He was suited up there with the rest of us, 30, reserve group that didn't get to play. But also Bob was in the S Club, and I was kind of curious about the requirements of the S Club. So I went and grabbed the old 1960 annual, and that annual sat there and said, see if I can read it verbatim. The boy is eligible for the club by lettering in the sport either in junior high school or high school. Being a scurv for 1 week. Scurv, that's a new word. I never did know the definition, but you may want to Google it up. It's not it's not a kind word. But if the scurv survives this week, he will become a member. I thought that this is verbatim out of the 1960 annual. But Bob survived. He was in the S Club, and it was. I was very glad to see him get in there. Now, also during that time, I had a question why he did not, finish playing football as a junior and senior year, and I still don't really know that answer. My little bit of investigation of it from the annual and that experience there during that Hell Week, I guess, with the S Club, we had an experience there that may have possibly caused something there. But we were all staying in a hall one night. We had some activities in the high school. And we were standing there in the hall, and they just installed new fire alarms. And doggone it, Bob was looking at it. He was curious about it. He was wanting to see how it worked. And Bob tripped that fire alarm. And as you can imagine, lots of fire trucks. Here comes Tom Turvey running up there like, what is going on here? Bob says, I'm sorry, I did it. Mistake. And I think maybe he felt a little bit challenged as far as competing in this next junior and senior year, with Tom having that over him a little bit. And also, he may not want to do those two-a-days back in August when the temperature was hot, and none of us wanted to be playing football that time of the year. But anyway, Bob was kind of a late bloomer as far as his athletic career. I mean, like Larry shared a little bit, that he became a gym rat in his adult life. He would go to the gym every day, 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. He would open the gym. And I don't know how many years he did it, but I knew he did it right up almost to the very end of his life. But like Larry shared, he was also a runner. I was so surprised one time. I was living in Dallas, and Bob calls me up from downtown Dallas. He said he's at a hotel. He wanted me to come down and visit with him. I said, "What are you doing in town?" He said, "Well, I'm running a marathon." At that time, I had no knowledge that Bob was a runner. But anyway, I go downtown and I meet him downtown Dallas at the Hilton Hotel, and he says that, I said, "Have you ever run this before?" He said, "Oh yeah, I've done the Boston, I've done the New York City Marathon, I think San Francisco." So all of a sudden, he was definitely a marathoner. He was a runner because he had to qualify for some of those Boston Marathon. So he obviously had some pretty decent times when he did run. You know, like Larry said, also he was a private pilot. Obviously, he was even a carpenter. Mike Ebert, I think they shared some time with Mark Grimsley building some apartments just right up Husband Road here. He was quite a gardener. He was an extensive traveler, and he visited a lot of countries domestically and internationally. And I think, of course, I spent a lot of time with Bob during the summers, during the college days. We worked in Aspen the first summer. After we were freshmen in college. Next year, I went to Portland. He went to Disneyland out in Anaheim. And at the end of the summer, I called him up and said, "Hey, Bob, I don't have a ride home. What's your plans?" So anyhow, I fly to Los Angeles. We sit there and we scratch our heads a little bit. Nobody was coming back to Stillwater at the time. So Bob said, "Well, let's hitchhike." And that got me a little concerned. I said, "How do you hitchhike out from Anaheim to get to the outside of Los Angeles?" Well, Bob said, "No problem." He gets a bus ticket to Kingman, Arizona. So we got out of the state and the city, and there we started thumbing it. And we got back to Oklahoma City in about 24 hours. But it took us about 5 hours to get from Oklahoma City to Stillwater, about 5 different rides. The next summer, basically the same thing. I worked in Portland. He worked at Disneyland. I flew down there. He picked me up at the airport, but he had his car that year, so things were much better. But he also had some friend, which I don't know who it was, had an apartment right on Manhattan Beach, so we had a nice place to stay there, right on the beach, before we came back to Stillwater. And then the next year, we were seniors there, and Bob went to summer school and graduated. I stayed in summer school that year, and then we did like a 3-week road trip out to Tahoe, San Francisco, and LA, and back to Stillwater. And it was a great trip, had some great experiences, and but also, I just wanted to comment about, Bob was, like Larry said, he became a judge later in life. And I think that was the happiest time I saw him, when he was a judge. And I remember coming to Stillwater, there were times when Bob would come to Dallas, and on Saturday morning he says, "Well, I got to make a phone call." So he gets in the back seat, gets on the cell phone, and he starts making a phone call up to the Stillwater courthouse, or wherever it is. He had to start passing judgment on all the arrests that happened Friday night, the night before. It should have been in private, maybe shouldn't be done it amongst other people, but Bob was quite interested in listening to him, make those decisions, being fair, and listening to all the details. But he just went on and on. And it would, I don't know how many, depending on how many arrests they had the night before, but I think Bob was extremely happy in doing that type of work. I think he's probably one of the best judges we probably could have had in that capacity in the county. So I think that's about the extent of what I want to share right now. I could go on for hours about Bob, but I think we better keep this program a little shorter. So anyhow, appreciate it very much. Oh yeah, could the Hurt family or a representative of the Hurt family come up and accept their award? Or all of you? Just, okay.
thanks very much to Mike and Larry for presenting Bob. Uh, Bob's dad always knew him as Judge Hurt, and he was a great recruiter for athletics at the high school because if you had to go in front of him, he would give you an option. You know, you can either spend some time doing this, which was a real negative, or you could go out for athletics. So that's where I first met Judge Hurt. Our third inductee this morning is Max Spiegel, and here to present him are his children. So if you guys would come on up.
My name is Teresa Christensen. I'm Max and Linda Spiegel's daughter. I'm here with my sister, Lisa Long, and my brother, Cliff Spiegel, and we have the honor this morning of sharing a little bit about our dad, Max Spiegel. I also want to say thank you to the Pioneer Athlete Memorial, and thank you to the Stillwater Group for putting this together. Clifton Max Spiegel was the son of Cliff and Jimmy Spiegel. His father was a football coach, and they moved around the country, depending on where the job was. And although they lived several places, Stillwater was where they considered home. This is where they spent the longest, and this is what my dad considered his hometown. Stillwater is a place that my dad held dear to his heart. We could always hear the pride in his voice as he talked about his days growing up here, Stillwater friends, and good memories. My dad was the quarterback for the Stillwater Pioneer football teams. The story that we heard most often after his family had moved back from Canada was that Dad had organized the neighborhood kids to play, but with Canadian rules, 12 men on the field. Although my dad was not one to brag, I did hear about his Pioneer teams being undefeated for 5 straight seasons, beginning in 1957 with his 7th grade Toy Pioneer teams. This week I researched online looking up, trying to find what this season record was for his senior year of football, and a picture popped up of number 15, quarterback Max Spiegel, mentioning that when he couldn't find an open receiver, he ran the ball to the end zone and scored the points against the Ponca City team. That was a nice photo to run across. Our dad was always a hard worker, and this began with part-time jobs that he had here in Stillwater. At the age of 13, he was hired by Oklahoma State University in the landscape department. He told of walking around campus and picking up trash and keeping things looking nice. He also worked at the Vet Village in 1960 and 1961. When he was 16, he had a part-time job at the Shelton Lumber Company, and his senior year in high school, he worked for the Stillwater News Press. Max graduated from high school here in Stillwater in 1963. He went on to OSU, majored in business administration, and was a member of the Beta Theta Pi fraternity. He had many lifelong friends that he met during his days in Stillwater. My dad did not give a lot of unsolicited advice, and usually only if you asked him, but there are a few things he said that I clearly remember, and probably people in the community do too. If you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. Nothing good happens after midnight. Maybe he just said that to me. And a quote he often shared is, "A ship in harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are built for." When I think about my dad's life, I feel the greatest example he set for us was showing us the value of serving others. His time in the Navy was a defining part of this. He was in the Naval Reserves in college and spent summers on Navy ships throughout the world. When he graduated from Oklahoma State, he was an officer and reported for flight school in Pensacola 2 weeks after my parents were married. He spent the next several years navigating an A-6 combat jet from the aircraft carrier USS Ranger. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross for a mission which rescued a fellow Navy pilot who was down in combat. And just for your information, Charles Lindbergh was the first to be awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. He made contributions to his community through service to government, education, civic, and religious organizations. His professional life included his private law practice, serving as municipal judge, city attorney, and city manager for the city of Edmond, general counsel for the Oklahoma Municipal Power Authority, and he was an adjunct professor at UCO. He had lifelong relationships from each part of his life, and he was extremely intentional with his words and
So I have the unique distinction. I got to accept the Hall of Fame award for my grandfather, his dad, from Capitol Hill High School in Oklahoma City when I was a teenager. So those of you know the Spiegel family, there's a rich athletic tradition. A lot of Spiegels here. I always remember Spiegel showing up in numbers for all kinds of family events. So I think that's special that I got to do that for both. High school is a formative time. It was for me. I know it was for all of us. And at his funeral, we heard some words from his high school teammates and friends about his leadership and just his friendship, and that was special to hear. He definitely carried that through life and shared that with us. I think back on sports, and I watched a lot of sports with him. We all went to a lot of games, watched a lot of games. And what always stood out was he never complained about refs, about coaching, about anything. He was just there to enjoy. Fans around us at the stadium were going strong, and we were just watching. That always stood out. That was just something that he passed on us. Like my sister said, he wasn't much in word sharing, but he was an example, and he carried that through. That was special. So I'll just end with another thank you for the committee. I know this is a lot of work to put on. Great turnout and special. I know that with Capitol Hill, this is unique, and thank you very much. So I will have all the Spiegels stand up. We have a whole crew here from. Yeah, we'll have our mom come up. This is my mom, Linda Spiegel. She'll come up. We have sisters. We have cousins, nephews, grandchildren here. So just especially to share this time. Thank you, Dina.
Okay, next inductee is one of my classmates, Mark Hayes, and here to do the presentation is his brother Dan. Come on up, Dan. In the program it said Doug Poole was going to do the presentation, but Doug still didn't allow that to happen, so we've got a good feeling.
Well, I'm sorry that Doug isn't feeling well, but it's a good thing for you all because Doug can't say hello in less than 5 minutes. And Jana gave me this, honoring Mark last night, so I got very short notes. So this ought to move the program ahead just a little bit. So most people think of Mark as being a one-time Stillwater High School person because he only went here his senior year. But since our parents were in education, and educators are a lot like military families or coaches, they tend to move back and forth a lot of times. So we moved from Oklahoma City to Stillwater, to Oklahoma City to Stillwater. And so Mark ended up going to Jefferson. He went to the junior high, and he went here. And then he went to Oklahoma State. So we have a lot of history here in Stillwater, and really proud to be back here and see how the town has grown. Seen all of these wonderful inductees that have been in here through the years. I know that there have been numerous athletes that really moved forward from Stillwater High School, but to be honest, I never imagined this number of people. Thank you so much to the committee for putting this whole thing together. So Mark ended up playing golf because our father played for Henry Ivan on a national championship team. He had 4 boys. There was 6 years between the oldest and youngest, and he wanted something all of us could do together. And so he ended up having us all play golf. Mark was the best player. Well, I kind of challenged that. Mark was the only one that was really dead set on playing the PGA Tour. My oldest brother Larry and myself are also PGA professionals, but we ended up running golf courses and teaching people how to play and to grow the game of golf. The black sheep that didn't do it, Jim, just older than me, he became a landscape architect and I got his master's here at Oklahoma State. He ended up helping Mark with some of his golf course design work and had his private practice where he was doing some residential and commercial work. So golf has definitely been in our lives for a long time. So Doug and Mark were classmates. They had a state championship team here. And that friendship, along with many others, faces I've seen in here, have, as lifetime friendships of some of his alumni from here in Stillwater. He started playing golf when he was 6. And when he was 11, he was shooting even par. And so that made him, without a doubt, one of the best junior golfers to play in the state. And he just really appreciated all that he learned through being here at Stillwater, passing upward with the Labor and Harris at Oklahoma State, and going to the PGA Tour, winning 4 events, setting course record in the British Open that lasted almost 20 years. So he would be very proud of this crowd coming out here to participate in honoring all of these inductees today. So on behalf of the Hayes family, we'd like to say thank you, and I would like to introduce Mark's wife of 46 years, Jana Hayes. Mark's son, Kelly. Mark's sister-in-law, Karen, and her husband, Steve Whitworth, and my lovely wife, Claire. So, thank you all very much. Thanks to, I never thought I'd say thank you to Spam, but thank you to Spam.
Thanks a lot. Our next inductee is Jackie Dudley. He's from the class of 1968, which was right behind us, so knew Jackie well. And here to do presentation for him is teammate and classmate Bobby Stites.
Thanks for everyone that's been here today, showed up, supported this effort. I had some things written down, and I asked my wife I was going to present it to her to see what she thought. So I did it. I read the things I wanted to say. I said, "What do you think?" She said, "Well, you're just under 45 minutes." And I said, "Well, we got a letter yesterday that said it's supposed to be 5 minutes." So I was a little worried. I had to scratch some stuff out. First thing I can say is Jackie, he loved his family. He loved his girls, his wife. And he loved the farm. He loved the ranch in Osage County. I never really lived there, but he was there a lot. And he loved horses. In fact, he wanted me to meet a horse named Needles when I was in Florida. I said, "Needles?" He said, "Yeah, you have Needles." So I went out to the barn with him. It was like an introduction. He introduced this horse to me, and Needles sticks his tongue out. And I said, "What's he doing?" He said, "Shaking his tongue. He wants to meet you." "Hi, Needles, Kentucky Derby winner." Golly. Anyway, I didn't know horses that well. But he assured me everything would be fine. Oh, Jack got real good in the leather works too. He was making saddles, bridles, belts. I don't know, he might have attempted to make some boots. I don't know how well he did on those, but he was getting into leather work. He was an exceptional, and we know he's an athlete because that's why we're here, but he was an exceptional person and athlete. In football, by that I mean he could have played quarterback. He did. He could play fullback. He did. He could play linebacker. And he didn't want to be on the other team. He was linebacker. He knew how to deliver a blow. I never did quite figure that out. Football, played basketball, played baseball. And when he was a baseball player, he could pitch. Not just play base, but he was a pitcher. He could throw like nobody else. And he was very good in golf. He didn't quite reach the Hayes level, but he was a scratch golfer. And I saw him get off a plane once in Tulsa. He might have had flip-flops on for a while. But by the time we got to the golf course out here in Stillwater, he was barefoot. The Florida pants on and the Florida shirt. And he played that way that day. Barefoot, and shot scratch golf. I was just looking for the ball I started with. So, a great golfer too. He even taught in Florida lessons and tried to make a go out of it. He didn't really have the time, he said, to do that. But he liked to help people learn how to do things. He didn't quite make the senior tour. He called to tell me that he was getting out of the pro part of it. He tried, but he said it's just too good. We played high school. I met him in junior high football. We played. I never knew Jack early on. Junior high, 7th grade. We played football in high school. And, of course, you guys know we won the state championship in 1967. We won the game 15-7. Jack was the reason. Anyway, Jackie did that, and then afterwards we went to college. College was going by, and I was in OSU wrestling at that time. Jackie had gone back to Florida, lived in Ocala, so we were distant, but we still kept together. In 71, I was going to Chattanooga, Tennessee by an OSU bus to wrestle. And I called and said, what do you think about picking my wife up that just took a job in Fort Lauderdale? She could drive up to Ocala, Florida, and then you guys could drive to Chattanooga. He said, okay, I can do that. I'm not doing anything. I said, okay. So I go to the tournament in the OSU bus. Going to be there a weekend. Jackie brings my wife to be to Chattanooga. Shortly thereafter, in 73, I asked Jackie to be my best man. He said, I can do that, but I'm not sure I can be there that day because I'm in the Army National Guard. I said, I kind of need to know. And he said, well, I'll try to make it because I want to do it. And it was a couple of hours. We were still waiting. It was in Pawhuska, Oklahoma. And high on the hilltop there, Jack showed up at just the nick of time, and we got dressed. And we went and had a great wedding service. But he was a part of it. And we kept in touch all through those years afterwards, trying to keep up with the things he wanted to do, even dreamed of doing, like one of his all-time great ideas was to make bicycle seats. He said, what? He said, bicycle seats. He said, do you know how many bicycles there are in the United States, in China, in Europe? If we can just sell half those people bicycle seats. So he designed a bicycle seat. And it was quite unique. We even had one, and my wife liked it. But he was trying to get a patent, and he couldn't do it. And things just didn't go the way he wanted to. So that idea kind of went by the wayside. But he was a very exceptional person, and he was a very exceptional athlete to be able to do all those things as well as he did it. Some people are good athletes in one sport. Jackie was good at all of it. And I know today he'd be very happy to receive this award. And he would probably end it by saying, I'm proud to be a pioneer. Could Jesse and Jackie Joe please come up? His two daughters. And there is a Dudley clan here. You guys want to say anything or identify?
Really great. We're just really blessed and honored to accept this award on my dad's behalf. Our family's here. We have our cousins, our aunts, my kids. My son's actually representing the 1967 state championship jacket.
Yeah. Shout out to Jack Spratt. That's Jack's grandson. Thank you so much. Our dad absolutely loved playing sports here in Stillwater. He talked about it all the time. It was like the highlight of his entire life. We are so happy to be here and accept this on his behalf. He could not be more happy or more proud of him too. So we love him very much. And thank you to Bobby for being here.
For doing it.
And Paula, thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, our last inductee is Jody Pate, and here to do the presentation is Barry Smith.
Sir. Bob, appreciate that. That's going to be a difficult one to follow. Like I said, my name's Barry Smith. I'm a Stillwater Pioneer class of 1987, as you'll be able to tell by the fact that I've got to put readers on to get through this. I was proud to be and fortunate enough to be a friend, classmate, and teammate of our final inductee into the Athletic Memorial, Joseph William Pate, known by myself and a lot of his teammates as Jody. I often heard his dad call him Joe. We went by a few different names, but I always knew him as Jody. Throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to speak to literally thousands of people across the country. And so I had 2 years to prepare for this. And I warned some of the committee members that I had a couple hours under my belt. But like Bob, I got that letter that said I had 5 minutes. So I was a little disappointed, so I'm going to try to condense it. Even if I didn't have that much time, it wouldn't be a problem thinking of what to say about Jody, because he's a guy that his teammates and his coaches still talk about and remember to this day. To give an example, dear friend Bob Kropp retired at Oklahoma State 2 years ago in Health Science. Part of his speech, his retirement speech, was remembering coaching 10 and 12 and under baseball. And he said in his speech, which was off the cuff, if I had a kid that could throw it across the diamond and a kid that could catch it or do whatever it took to make sure it didn't go to the fence, I had a chance to win. That kid was Jody. He was talking about. So again, thanks to the committee for selecting Jody. Thank you, Brenda, for asking me to be up here. Joseph William Pate was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, June 20th, 1969. His family, friends, and teammates, as I mentioned, knew him as Joe or Jody. Sadly, he passed away too early, September 15th, 1999, at his Stillwater residence. He's survived by his mother, Brenda,
and his niece, Jody Alderson, was named after Jody. As a young boy, he attended school in Perkins. He played t-ball and baseball, football in the Payne County District, eventually moving to Stillwater, where he continued to play those sports. His love for those sports continued to grow. He was very competitive. He played high school football and baseball for the Pioneers and was a member of Stillwater American Legion summer team. When he graduated with us in '87, he attended Oklahoma State, where he received his Bachelor's of Science degree in education and eventually moved to Oklahoma City. He was known as Coach Pate by his students, and he taught and coached in Oklahoma City, the school system there, for 7 years. His passion was coaching baseball and football and really leading young men. This is where he had that chance to provide his positive influence and example on his students. So besides playing sports for the Pioneers, he was an excellent student. And when I say he was a classmate, we probably didn't have the same classes because he was an excellent student. And under those of you that went to school with me and figured out that I do this across the country, you're probably scratching your heads, and that's fair. If you didn't know me back then. He won the National Science Merit Award in Biology, the National Leadership in Science and Service Award, and he also was listed in the Society of Distinguished High School Students and the Who's Who amongst American high school students. So a person could define a pioneer in several different ways. I kind of define one as a person who leads the way. I saw the pioneer walking around the football game last night with the raccoon skin hat and the homemade clothes. That's one way we think about pioneers, but I think about a pioneer as a leader. And when it came to characteristics that he possessed, like a strong work ethic, very gritty determination, and contagious enthusiasm, Jody was definitely a pioneer. He was always one that led the way, in my opinion. He'll always be respected and remembered by his former teammates for showing them the benefits of hard work. His example is one that we could follow and should still be following today. And I appreciate the committee again. At this time, I'd like to ask his mother, Brenda, to come up and accept the award.
This is Jody's namesake. We've got 18 months after his passing. I'm honored that she's the last of my family. I want to thank Mary Ann for helping me. I am just so impressed with you. It's on and on and on. Gary, you mean a lot to me, son. And I know that Jody, his dad, and his sister are all here with us today. And I thank you.
All right, that concludes our induction people. We want to take just a moment to explain our scholarship briefly to you because that's something we feel strongly in. I think it's interesting that we've got such a large gap in ages from Chuck Kennett down to Jody, but yet you see very similar characteristics in all these athletes. And we feel strongly that that's the things that they get from participating in athletics, and they carry over into your life, and you use them throughout your life. And that's the thing we want people to see as we do this recognition of these special athletes. At this time, I'll invite Mark Wagner up, and he's going to talk a little bit about our scholarship, and he will close us. And then again, I invite you to hang around and participate in some eating and some biscuit.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, I'm Mark Wagner. I'm class of 1969. And I'd like to say some closing remarks because it's an honor to memorialize these 6 lives that are well-lived and well-remembered. And in so doing, today we're able to help pioneers of potential with scholarships. We're very proud of the 22 Jim Harris scholarships that have been awarded since we started this in 2000. And it's only through your generous donations that we're able to do this. Since the first scholarship was awarded, as Tom referred to it, we started from $2,000 for 4 years, and now we're up to $10,000 for 4 years of college. And the Jim Harris Scholarship is considered one of the largest private scholarships offered to graduating seniors from Stillwater High School at this time. In awarding these scholarships, we look for students who display an ability, obviously, to succeed in college, but not necessarily the top grades of their class. Although grades are very, very important to us, they still must have participated in athletics and displayed qualities of leadership. They must exhibit a great sense of what we call pioneer pride. But we also pay very close attention from the committee on their personal needs of these scholarships. That's one of the driving factors that makes us unique in giving scholarships graduating seniors. Because many of these scholarships that we have awarded are to individuals who probably would not have been able to attend college without these scholarships. We're very proud of that. These scholarships create a legacy of pioneer pride, and just like these inductees leave a legacy for their families, and we need your help in doing this. You've heard from Braden Bennett, one of our scholarship recipients. The newest scholarship recipient is Oscar Ehrlich, and he was unable to attend today. So his grandfather, James McDonald, is going to say a few words that he'd like that Oscar wrote down for him.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, I'm Oscar Ehrlich's grandfather. And Oscar is currently living his dream as a freshman redshirt long snapper for the OSU Cowboys. But when Oscar found out that this event was going to take place, unfortunately, he had already scheduled to be out of state event, and so he wrote a letter to the committee, and he asked me, he said, "Grandpa, would you represent me either delivering the letter or reading it to the committee?" And so it didn't take much arm twisting for me to say, absolutely. So Oscar has written this letter. He says, "Dear Jim Harris Scholarship Committee, I want to thank you for the honor and recognition you have given to me with the award of the Jim Harris Scholarship. I'm sorry that I had a previous scheduled event out of state that does not allow me to attend the banquet and meet in person all the honored pioneers. Your scholarship has certainly helped allow me to continue my education and dream of playing college football. Being a Stillwater Pioneer has always made me proud. The accomplishments my team achieved will always be remembered. I hope my future includes earning the spot of being a long snapper for the OSU Cowboys, and that continues to make you proud of me being a pioneer. Thank you again for your honor and scholarship. We are pioneers." Oscar Ehrlich. Thank you for that.
To make your tax deductible donations, there are envelopes in the back of the room over here on the tables if you want to pay by check and mail it in. You can also donate online using credit cards or even PayPal, and the website is, name of it is in the brochure close to the back. It is stillwaterpioneermemorial.org or .org. Where you can make those online donations. And then also there's an address on that website if you want to mail in your checks directly to the committee. Your donations are in honor of current and past inductees, and you can also make those donations in the honor of a candidate that you may have for induction. And as a reminder in closing, if the families could stay together and move forward to the front of this area so we can get you all together for individual family photographs. We'd really appreciate it, and I know you'd all would like to keep those for record as well. Thank you for coming today and supporting Spam and the inductees. This concludes the ceremony. Thank you. Good job.